Mental beauty is meant to elicit a new way of thinking, living, and breathing. Mental beauty is meant to equalize the weight of physical and mental well-being. Mental beauty is meant to accept your whole self and others, regardless of ailment, compromise, or imperfection. Mental beauty is meant to be recognized and redefined as a do-over in thoughts, mindsets, perceptions, and future insights. So embrace it, embody it, become it, and own it boldly, and at the same time, your expression of it sparks curiosity and becomes someone else's learning, inspiration, motivation, empowerment, and hope. There are numerous interpretations of mental beauty as you give yourself permission to make it yours as you see fit. And no matter the perspective, with the openness of this invitational phrase of the mental beauty rethink, there is no right or wrong, good or bad, and absolutely zero judgment. Mental beauty allows you a new and clear lens to see mental well-being in the absence of stigma. Mental beauty becomes a much more invitational approach to break down barriers of mental stigma. Mental beauty is enveloped with full unconditional acceptance of yourself and of others. Mental beauty has the bountiful capacity to normalize mental well-being. When you embrace the mental beauty rethink concept, you automatically ignite that positive shift towards breaking down barriers of mental stigma. The collective richness of what this phrase has to offer is beneficial to all individuals, no matter what walk of life you come from or live in, all due to its shield against any form of negative connotation associations, while redefining what overall mental health is truly all about. Through the embodiment of the mental beauty rethink, each of you out there provide an opportunity to every individual in your community to be seen in equal light to physical health, which in turn achieves the endless possibilities for creating emotionally safe spaces for all to be in, while we fully immerse in self-healing, self-discovery, and self-fulfillment. I encourage each one of you out there to claim the mindset of the mental beauty rethink as your default way to view your world. Let this be a vow to each and every single one of us that we strive to make each of our communities globally open to emotional risk-taking, vulnerability, authenticity, unleashing, redefining, and continued storytelling. So, let's break that silence and tap into mental beauty. This is Salima Jadafji, your podcast host, a practicing social worker, and your mental wellness connoisseur. I am tremendously passionate and optimistic regarding all things mental health, with over 2 decades of experience in mental health across diverse sectors, including community services, private organizations, healthcare, and education. In my thriving private practice, as a specialist in transformational processes and trauma-informed practices, I lead as an expert in the mental health field, helping individuals navigate the complexities of anxiety, depression, perfectionism, grief, workplace and situational stressors, sleep disorders, among other challenges. Together, we navigate complexities using my deep understanding and professional skill set to empower my clients to regain control and thrive. My approach is deeply compassionate and committed, rooted in my life's purpose to serve and facilitate your journey towards healing and empowerment. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the show as we step into a direction that allows us to dive deeper into mental beauty. Episode 106 of the Dare to Share Your Untold Story podcast, Mental Beauty segments. Today, we are focusing on mindfulness in daily life. I am thrilled to have you all here as we continue our journey together. For those who are new to the podcast, a warm welcome from your self-care pro and mental wellness connoisseur. You're joining a community committed to breaking down the barriers of mental stigma and embracing the concept of mental beauty, a term which I have coined to intentionally invite each of you to embrace the nuances of what mental health is all about, while we take an approach that allows each of you to normalize, prioritize, equalize, and embody an invitational means of seeing and accepting mental well-being, and of course, without judgment. Again, welcome to the episode 106 of the Dare to Share Your Untold Story podcast, Mental Beauty Segments. I am excited to continue our journey together. Remember to subscribe, leave a review, and share the podcast. Together, we can break down stigma and promote the mental beauty rethink to its highest level. Thank you for being here, and let's get started. As we get started, please remember the insights shared in this podcast are intended to enlighten and entertain, not to replace professional medical advice. If you have any concerns or need guidance, please seek help from your healthcare providers. Take gentle care of yourself and know that support is always available. Today, we're diving into an incredibly important topic: mindfulness in daily life, despite your untold story. This discussion is inspired by episode 19, titled "Her Unwavering Faith Conquered the Cancer and Every Other Wall That Came Her Way," featuring Nadia Gulhamhusein. Nadia's journey is a powerful example of feeling your strength right from your core and keeping steadfast in your faith, beliefs, and a higher power, while putting your full trust in the universe. From childhood, she developed a sense of positivity in her viewpoint of the world. During the hardships that she faced with cancer, she took the time to stop and reflect on what she was going through. She wrote about her challenges and difficulties, and then was able to integrate positivity and cheer herself on. Nadia's open sharing serves as a permission slip for all of us to look at the cards we are dealt as a choice. She was faced with a choice to retreat or rise, and she chose to rise, chose I can, and she stepped into her greatness. She took her pain and transformed it into purpose, knowing that God had more work for her to do. Now, let's listen to some powerful insights from Nadia's journey.
Mental health is absolutely top priority for me, just taking care of my mental health and being in a space where I feel love and I feel safe. And that's really what this is all about, right? This conversation where we can feel safe and we can be vulnerable and we can talk about these untold stories that, like you say, aren't always disclosed, but so needed to be heard.
Right. There's so much need to have them be heard, and not for anyone to feel that there's reprimand or a reason to not tell, right? That the reason to not tell is greater than the reason to tell. I was telling someone the other day that it would be so nice if, when people talk, that people could talk about mental health the way they talk about, like, not to say that one is less than the other or more than the other, but if you end up having a knee surgery or you break a bone, like the way you talk about that you could talk about mental health. And so I'm really striving for that. And it seems like you really very much understand the underlying message of this podcast. And it's truly beautiful that we can have this conversation today. And just your feedback on the mental beauty rethink is just really, it feels very satisfying, like to know that this is the vibe that is taking on with other people. So
absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. This mental beauty, we are beautiful. We are incredible. We are resilient. We are strong. And that's what that message to me, puts out into the universe. Mental beauty. Absolutely. Yes. Every single aspect of it is beautiful. And to be able to talk about that in the same way we talk about other things really is what this is all about, because we should be able to talk about it, because everything that comes with our experience is we don't just have exactly. We don't just have a physical self, an emotional self. We have also a mental self, a spiritual self, and every single one of them is as important as the other. So breaking down those barriers, absolutely. I'm about that life, and I'm ready to, have the conversation with you.
Yes. Amazing. Thank you, Nadia Gulhamhusein, for sharing such an authentic message. Nadia's story reminds us of something crucial. Mental health is a top priority. It's about creating a space where we feel loved, safe, and accepted for who we are. This podcast exists for exactly this reason, to share these powerful stories and foster conversations that allow us to be vulnerable and open, even when these experiences aren't always openly discussed. They desperately need to be heard. The message that resonates so strongly with me is this: we are beautiful, incredible, and strong. Every single one of us. And that's the energy this podcast aims to put out into the universe. Every aspect of our being is beautiful, and we should be able to discuss our mental health just as freely as we talk about anything else. Our experiences, all of them, are valid and worthy of being shared. We are not just physical or emotional beings. We have mental and spiritual selves too, and each of these aspects is equally important. They all deserve our attention and care. So, let's break down those barriers that keep us from fully embracing and discussing our mental health. I'm fully committed to this cause, to creating a world where we can speak openly about our whole selves without fear or shame. This is what mental beauty is all about, recognizing the beauty in every part of our experience and having the courage to share it with the world. In her episode, Nadia talks about the power in her faith to overcome the cancer. Firmly planted in the roots of her faith and of a higher power, she speaks about choosing to take the pain and transforming it into an influential, positive purpose. She learned the true art of taking a challenging situation, embracing it, and then transforming it into a beautiful journey. Nadia's mental beauty rethink is about being open to knowing that each part of ourselves is as important as others: physical, emotional, mental, spiritual aspects. She expanded her thoughts to include that there is a need to be in spaces that feel safe so that we can show up with vulnerability and openly speak about mental health issues and take care of one's mental health. By creating safety to share and be open, we create safe spaces to hold the conversations. She talks about equalizing the conversations. I appreciate her vibrant energy as she describes how she believes in the mission of the podcast and the pure need to be able to share and disclose stories openly as they need to be heard. And others need to hear these stories. And we can all learn from each other and support one another. If you haven't already, I encourage you to go back and listen to her full episode. What Nadia shared in her podcast still rings true today and with enthusiasm. It brings hope that we can make a difference in breaking down the barriers of mental stigma and by spreading the mental beauty rethink as a new way to see mental well-being can help us get there. But don't go anywhere just yet, my listeners. Stay with me for a moment as I have some important insights to share with you first. And then you can hop off and listen to her full episode. Let's explore how Nadia's experience align with the mental beauty rethink concept and dive deeper into her journey. Nadia's journey is a powerful testament to the human spirit's resilience and the transformative power of mindset. Her story, which she frames as how to choose I can and step into your greatness, is about owning one's narrative and finding strength in adversity. Growing up as a child of immigrants, Nadia learned early on about sacrifice and resilience. She cultivated positivity from a young age, a trait that would serve her well in the face of life's challenges. This mindset became crucial when, at just 24, Nadia was diagnosed with cancer. In the shock and disbelief following her diagnosis, Nadia made a pivotal choice. Instead of retreating, she chose to rise. She embraced the mantra, I can, stepping into her greatness and transforming her pain into purpose. This choice wasn't easy, but it was reinforced by her faith and the belief that she had more to contribute to the world. A key aspect of Nadia's approach was her daily practice of asking this very question: "What's the blessing? What's the blessing?" she asked. This simple yet profound question trained her mind to seek light, even in the darkest moments. It allowed her to maintain a positive perspective and focus on growth rather than despair. Nadia's story beautifully illustrates the core of mindfulness: being present, accepting what is, and making conscious choices about where to focus our attention. She reminds us that while we can't always control our circumstances, we can always choose our perspectives. Through her experience, Nadia learned valuable lessons about self love, compassion, and the importance of kindness to oneself. Her journey shows us that there are often journeys within the journey, each offering opportunities for growth and transformation. Nadia's approach to her challenges embodies the essence of mental beauty. It's about recognizing that even our most difficult experiences can be sources of strength and wisdom. By choosing to see the potential for growth in every situation, we can navigate life's storms with grace and emerge stronger on the other side. Now that you have listened to Nadia's mental beauty rethink and are clearer on how you can apply mindfulness to your daily living, even in the face of strife, let me share the story of a client whom we'll call Alana, who faced a life-altering illness diagnosis that shook the very foundation of her world. Initially, Alana was consumed by fear and uncertainty, constantly worrying about the future and whether she would make it through. The weight of the unknowns was overwhelming, leaving her feeling powerless and disconnected from the life she once knew. In therapy, we began to explore these fears and anxieties, gradually introducing basic mindfulness principles as a way to ground her in the present moment. Through practices like deep breathing, mindful meditation, and body scans, Alana started to reconnect with herself and found that even amidst her illness, there were moments of peace and clarity she could access. As Alana embraced the acceptance mindset, something profound began to shift within her. She learned to focus on what she could control: her attitude, her daily choices, and her responses to each new challenge, rather than dwelling on the uncertainties of her prognosis. This shift allowed her to cultivate a healthy sense of positivity, not through forced optimism, but by embracing the full spectrum of her experience, including the difficult emotions. Alana began to live more fully in the present, cherishing the moments she had and allowing herself to be with her experiences without judgment. This new approach not only eased her anxiety, but also helped her to embrace life with a renewed sense of purpose and resilience. Through mindfulness and acceptance, Alana discovered a powerful way to navigate her journey, fostering inner strength and a deep appreciation for the life she was living, regardless of the outcome. Now, Alana is at a place where she can embrace uncertainty that shows up in life, as she has learned that it is inevitable and has been able to accept that she has control over a lot and can make conscious choices for where her thoughts lead her. And she does so with deliberate practice. This transformation beautifully illustrates the concept of mental beauty: embracing unknowns, worries, pain, fear, medical trauma, and accepting oneself in the process. Now, I hear you saying to yourself, Salima, that is awesome for Alana and Nadia, but I want to know how I can take charge too. I hear you. I hear you. Awesome sauce. Because that is just what we're going to do now. Now let's look at some practical tips that can help you embrace your own mental beauty. Here are 3 practical mental beauty tips inspired by today's discussion. I am sharing with you 3 practical tips for embracing and practicing mindfulness-based strategies. Tip number 1, start with daily mindful breathing. Begin each day with 5 to 10 minutes of mindful breathing, focusing on your breath as it enters and leaves your body, gently bringing your attention back whenever your mind wanders. This practice helps ground you in the present moment and fosters a sense of calm, allowing you to start the day with a clear and focused mindset. Tip number 2, practice acceptance through journaling. Set aside time each day to journal about your thoughts and feelings, especially when faced with challenges. Write without judgment, simply observing your emotions and the situation. This practice encourages acceptance and helps you identify areas within your control, allowing you to approach problems with a balanced perspective. Tip number 3, set intentional, positive focus. So, at the start of each day, set an intention to focus on one positive aspect within your control, whether it's your attitude, how you interact with others, or a small goal you want to achieve. By consciously directing your energy towards something positive and manageable, you cultivate healthy positivity and empower yourself to navigate the day with intention and grace. It's essential to remember that positivity is a daily practice, not a one-time achievement. It requires consistent effort in your internal dialogue and a commitment to being present in each moment. Learn to catch yourself in real time, acknowledging your humanity while maintaining a deliberate, conscious awareness of your thoughts. Regularly examine the perspectives you are entertaining and remember that ups and downs are a natural part of life. By cultivating this mindful approach, you can develop a more resilient and positive outlook, even in the face of challenges. I'd love to hear how you implemented these tips and what impact it had on you. Share your experiences in the comments. As we wrap up today's episode, let's move into our closing reflection, where I'll share a special tool that I know will help you integrate today's learnings into your own mental beauty practice. Inspired by Nadia's episode, this is what you want to reflect on and remember to practice daily. Ask yourself, how can I show myself kindness with whatever it is that I am experiencing in this given moment? And WTB, what's the blessing here? What do I need to see more clearly? Engaging in this self-reflective process allows you to cultivate a deeper sense of self-compassion and awareness. When you ask yourself, how can I show myself kindness with whatever it is that I am experiencing in this given moment? When you ask yourself this question, you're inviting yourself to pause and acknowledge your current emotional state without judgment. This question encourages you to offer the same kindness and understanding that you would extend to a friend or a loved one going through a difficult time. Whether you're feeling overwhelmed, anxious, or frustrated, this self-inquiry prompts you to recognize your own humanity and respond to your emotions with gentleness. It might lead you to take a break, engage in soothing activity, or simply allow yourself to feel without pressure to fix anything immediately. This act of kindness towards yourself can transform how you experience and process difficult emotions, making them more manageable and less overwhelming. Now, the second part of this reflection, what's the blessing here? What do I need to see more clearly? This invites you to shift your perspective and look for the hidden opportunities or lessons within your current situation. Even in challenging moments, there can be a silver lining, a chance to learn something new about yourself, to grow stronger, or to appreciate something that may have gone unnoticed before. This question helps you step back from the immediate emotional response and gain a broader view of your circumstances. By seeking the blessing, you're not dismissing the difficulty of the situation, but rather choosing to focus on what you can gain from it. It encourages clarity and insight, helping you to see the situation more objectively and with a sense of curiosity rather than fear or frustration. Over time, this practice can help you build resilience as you begin to trust that even in tough moments, there's something valuable to be found if you're open to seeing it. You like the WTB, don't you? I knew you would. You're very welcome in advance. Now, doesn't that feel so awesome and fantastic? Amazing. All right. Thank you all for being here, for supporting this podcast, and for being your unique, awesome selves. I am excited about the amazing things we have on the horizon. Stay in the know about our upcoming events just for you, including our spring and late summer retreats and our webinars and digital supports on our website at daretoheal.co, or go to bit.ly/join the Dare to Heal community to sign up for our Dare to Heal newsletter and become part of our community of mental beauty focused people. Plus, gain more tips and juicy insights like you enjoyed today, delivered directly to your inbox. Until next time, remember, you are worthy, you are beautiful, and your mental health matters. Before you go, if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to check out episode 19 for more insights from Nadia Gulhamhusein on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. So now you can kick back your feet and hit play to give this episode a listen. Please recommend these episodes to your friends or loved ones, and let's spread the message of mental beauty. P.S. My lovely mental beauty listeners, I still dare you to share the podcast with anyone who could benefit from these insights. If you haven't already, remember to subscribe, leave a review, share something amazing you want me to give a shout out for on your behalf. Just send an email to mentalbeautycommunity@gmail.com. Share your desire to share your untold story as a guest. All you have to do is visit daretoshare.co, scroll down to where it says submit your story, and select submit now. And share today's mental beauty tip with a friend or a loved one. Spread mental beauty, stop the stigma. All right. Once again, thank you for being part of the Dare to Share Your Untold Story podcast, mental beauty segments, and embracing the uniqueness of the mental beauty rethink, which allows us all to have a voice in breaking down the barriers of mental stigma.